Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. I'm going to be doing a embossed technique on vellum, and then we're going to use alcohol ink on the back of the vellum to paint the image in. At least that's my plan so far. So what I've done is I've laid a piece of 8.5 inch by about 5.5 inch wide paper in there, so I have a little bit of spare, and I've already run my little pouch over the image to make sure that it would not be staticky. And I'm going to use Princess Gold embossing powder from Ranger, and I'm going to be using my distressed embossing powder because I still haven't found my Versamark one that I know I have somewhere. I just don't know where. Anyway, so I'm going to ink this up. And like I said, I've already made sure that my image is well wiped off so that we don't have any problems with it. I just want to make sure I get everything nice and inked. Okay. I just want to make sure that we really get this pressed in so we get a really good image on our vellum, so that we can make sure that we get it enough so that the powder sticks. Easy enough. I get that magnet out of the way. This magnet I can pick up, that one not so much. Get this out. We can shut that and be ready to rumble. We've got underneath, I've got a big scrap pad here so we can, or scrap paper, so that we can get the embossing powder back in the bottle. And in the meantime, I'm going to shake a ton of it on there because it's going to take that much. This image is big, and I want to make sure I get it all really well. The thing about vellum is you can really make creases in it if you're not careful. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't bend it anywhere. I'm not sure if you can see at the top, I have some places that are kind of bent, like right in there. We're going to have to make sure that that's not in our image in the end. I know you've seen me heat set a lot, but vellum is a little bit different. You can't put the heat on it a lot or for very long, so I'm going to just wave it around the back, and it can burn really easily, so you really want to be careful when you do this, and that's why I'm doing it for you live and in person. And don't get it too close to the paper. You want to make sure that you just are heating the paper, but not, not right on top of it. Okay. That's what it looks like when it's heat embossed. You can see the difference. Now it's all shiny. If it's not super shiny like this, you need to heat it more. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to let that cool down, and I'll be back in a second. So here's my plan. I have already colored this once and didn't do the greatest job, and I'm probably going to throw this out, but at least I know where my colors are, so I can flip this over, and you can see on the back, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see my image really well on the back. You need to use darker colors if at all possible, because you want to make sure that when you flip this over, that the colors are going to show through the other side. So let's first start with the chest of our Hummingbird and see what kind of colors. That was DR4 and DR5 are the colors I'm going to use on his chest. And it's going to take, like I said, you're going to need to make sure that the colors are nice and dark, because this is not something that you can mess around with lighter colors. I'll flip it over so you can see. You see how light that is? And on the back, it's super dark. So we really want to make sure that our colors are as vibrant as we can make them. And don't worry if you're starting to think, geez, that's starting to look tacky. Don't worry, it's going to be fine because the color on the other side is not as vivid as you think it is. I'm trying to make sure I have the most vivid of these reds. I might have to go in a couple times with the reds because it needs to be as vibrant as I can make it, as I said. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to go into the center of my flower, and I'm just going to follow the lines of the flower with this red. Like that. You see the lines? And I'm going to flip it over so you can see it on the other side. You see, it's not that bright. And then I'm going to use another red, a little bit lighter, DR1, and see what that does. It's a pinkier red, and I want to make sure that I get enough color from this, so that we can actually see our image. And I'll go back over the darker parts if I need to, but I want to make sure I blend that flower while I can. It's important when you're using these kind of markers that you remember that you only have a limited amount of time to blend. So if you are trying to blend, do it when you have the chance. These are the darkest colors I have in reds. At least I think they are. I mean, I know in the Spectrum Noirs that they're the darkest, but I don't know in like Sharpies. I could probably find a Sharpie that's darker, but I don't know for sure. If I have one, go back in over the dark and make sure we have as much of that as we can. Let's flip it over. It comes up with a really pale, pretty look. You almost can't see, well, you can see the image. I don't know if you can see it under there, but you can see the darker reds. And you can keep going back in over the darker image, and it will make it a little bit darker every time you go back in. So, if you're fretting that you don't have enough dark, just go back in, add a little bit more. Now this spot I'm worried about. I'm going to have to try and find my lightest, which is this one, because I don't want that to be as dark as everything else, because it's like the flute, or the the part that's blooming on the flower or starting to the bottom of the flower. Trying to get as close as I can, and I know I'm still too far away for you to see this as well as I'd like you to. I'm going to be using some browns and do that stalk while I'm in the area. Might as well. There's this one piece I have no idea. Oh boy, my marker just came apart. Don't look. Hey, anybody ever had that happen with their marker? Oh boy. Anyway, I decided I would use like a dark brown, and then if it doesn't work, or if I can't figure it out as far as like what I want my stalk to be, this is the darkest brown I have, and I thought that would make sense to use it. But you never know, because when you're using it on acetate, the acetate kind of moves the color a little bit, so it starts to bleed into areas where you don't want it. So you have to be careful about that, and I'm starting to fret that I'm outside the lines, and I'm going to have to do something about that when I color in my background. Unless I decide not to color in my background, which that could happen too. Does anybody know what this one thing is? I can't tell what this one little piece is. It's driving me crazy that I don't know what it is. It looks like a leaf, but it's not like all the other leaves. It's right there. Anybody? 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 Have no idea what that is. Don't know what color to color it. Living on the edge. Anyway, that's where I stand right now with that. I have no idea. I'm going to go over the big stalk and make it browner. My friend Elishia and I both have this stamp set, and she has a new YouTube channel, and I'll link it to this, and you can see what she does with this stamp set, because we're both doing something with cards with this stamp set. So you might want to check her out too and see what she does with this, because I'm sure her idea will be a lot more creative. Now I'm going to do some green on our bird while that other color dries, because flip it over. Yeah, you see how you can see that? Isn't that cool? I'm digging it. She's lovely. She's prettier than a picture. Wait, she is a picture. She's not prettier than a picture. She is a picture. Let's do the tips of these wings a little bit. And then maybe down her spine a little bit. And maybe around her eye. Okay, let's see what that does. Cool. Can you see that? I hope you can see those differences. They're really pretty. If you can't, they are really pretty. If you can't, too bad what you're missing out on. Okay, let's do some leaves. Let's do dark green too. No, that's too light. Let's go back to that same green we used on our bird. Okay, let's turn it over and see what she looks like. Well, other than the parts where I colored outside the lines on the pink flowers, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to see if this changes any of the colors of my leaf. I'm going to just do a little bit at the bottom. One thing that I figured out about this is that when you lay down these big markets, they are a lot more opaque when you can't see through it. Yeah, they're a lot more opaque. The transparency goes. The alcohol markers, the other alcohol markers, are very transparent, but this is not. It's kind of it adds a lot more color and definition. I really think it's interesting. see if I have any pinks or reds in these, because this could really help us with our flowers. And I'll be back. I'm excited. I found this color that I think will look really good. So we're going to give it a shot and see what it does. Okay, let's do our background color. I think I'm going to go with either IB1. I think that's what I'm going to shoot for. So let's finish up with our blue and see if we can get this bad boy so it looks good. Okay, I'm going to try this Premier by Nicole colorless blender that I just got at AC Moore, and I wondered if it would do what I need it to do just by doing that. Oh, I've got all kinds of techniques, don't I? I'm like a thrill ride of techniques. Let me clean this off the rest of the way, not make you watch it, and I'll be back. So I'm going to do my sentiment. I found just this basic Thinking of You that I don't even know where I got, and I'm going to stamp it on the inside, or it's on actually on the outside of our card, but it's going to be underneath the vellum. And I want to do it a couple times because I really want this to be as dark as I can get it. I could emboss it, but I don't know if I want to. I'm just trying to, I liked the idea of it being just really bold and black. But on the flip side of that, I could always make it bold black and have clear embossing powder on it. So I'm going to stamp it one more time, and then I'm going to put the embossing powder on it. There's that. Our embossing powder. Okay. Hopefully it'll stay. It's not too bad. It needs a little bit more. Okay, let me heat set this and we'll be ready to roll. Put this card together, finally. Don't forget, you want to heat this up first. Put our card together. Are we all set? Yay! I'm happy. What I did was to make that work, to get that backing so it wasn't so smeary. You're not going to believe I did this because you're going to say, oh, that was crazy. I took one of my little distress ink pads, the tumbled glass, and I just rubbed it on the back, and for the most part it worked. There's a little bit of spot in there that's kind of pink, but I'm not really worried about that because, as in all things, it's a homemade card. It's not perfect, but that is what it's going to look like. We're ready to start. So what I did was I put some tear tape on the back of my top piece, and I angled it in so that when I put the flap over and line it up, it should line up right. So we want that paper to be on that edge. Let's see if I can line it up right this time. That looks better. And then I'll crease that. And so it looks pretty good. The vellum, I'm going to glue it down in a couple other places, but for now the vellum looks okay. Then what I did is I cut another piece of cardstock that is the same size as the piece that we laid there, and I'm just going to cover what we just put down so that our vellum is hidden and no one is the wiser of what we did there. And then I'm going to do the gluing of the rest of our, I'm going to just put a little piece here and there. I'll just use some of this kind of glue on that, where that is, and a little bit right there, and a little bit on the tail, and I think we should be good. So we'll glue that all down. All in all, I think the card tried to beat me several times, and I don't think in the end it accomplished what it set out to do, make me cry and quit, but you never know. I might still cry anyway. I want to grab my stamp for the back. I made this for you, and then let's put a little bit of, I wanted to put a little bit of tear tape on this. No, not tear tape, washi tape, and I like this glittery blue, and hopefully it'll stick, because I've had trouble with this stuff not sticking in the past. And this way, if I don't have enough to go all the way around, and luckily I did, if I didn't, if you do the front part first, a lot of times when you buy this glitter washi, it's not very long. You only have, oh, I only had that much left. That's funny. Lucky, huh? So here is our card. I was trying to find my bone folder. There it is. So I can fold it down now that I have everything attached to it. My stamp set, I don't know if I said, my stamp set is the Stampendous Hummingbird stamp set, and I guess the thinking of you probably would have been better on the outside of the vellum, but you can still see it. And all in all, I think it came out pretty well. It could have gone a lot worse because of the problems I did have with that blue smeary stuff, but in the end, by using the distress ink pad, I fixed that part. So I hope you enjoyed this, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to find a YouTube channel that shows you every mistake you can make and how to eventually fix it. This is the channel for you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.